1. FDA's new drug pricing rules, winners and losers in 2025. 2. FDA speeds up drug approvals with new voucher program, what does it mean for patients? 3. FDA Commissioner Makary's bold plan, fast review vouchers for lower U.S. drug prices. 4. FDA's new proposal, faster drug reviews for lower U.S. prices. 1. FDA's new drug pricing rules, winners and losers in 2025. The FDA's new strategy, a transformative shift in drug pricing by 2025. Wesley Park, Friday, July 11, 2025, 10:47 a.m. Eastern Time. 4-minute read. The FDA is embarking on a groundbreaking initiative with its new Commissioner's National Priority Voucher, CNPV, program, fundamentally altering the landscape for major pharmaceutical companies. This program links the expedited approval of drugs to those that address U.S. national priorities, while also indirectly connecting them to international pricing standards. This shift signals the end of the era where U.S. drug pricing was largely unregulated. Let's delve into the implications of this change and identify which pharmaceutical companies are likely to thrive or struggle in this evolving environment. #Understanding the shift, NPVs, MFN, and pricing dynamics. The CNPV program is designed to accelerate the approval process for medications that tackle urgent health issues, rare diseases, or enhance domestic manufacturing capabilities, reflecting a strong commitment to national security and public health. However, there's an important caveat. Although the program does not explicitly mandate price alignment with global markets, it operates alongside the Most Favored Nation, MFN, policy established during the Trump administration. This policy aims to tie U.S. drug prices to those in 14 other developed countries, effectively limiting Medicare prices to the lowest rates found globally. What does this mean for drug manufacturers? They now face a dual challenge. 1. Expedite drug approvals through the CNPV to align with U.S. health priorities. 2. Adjust pricing to meet global benchmarks to qualify for these incentives or avoid penalties associated with the MFN policy. This is a significant turning point. Companies that offer therapies not aligned with these national priorities, or that depend on high U.S. prices, will likely experience reduced profit margins. Conversely, those with diverse product pipelines, international revenue sources, or treatments in high-demand areas, such as rare diseases and oncology, will be better positioned to maintain their pricing power. Analyzing the winners and losers, PFE, MRK, BMY. Pfizer, PFE. The regulatory insider facing challenges. Strengths ** Pfizer benefits from the expertise of Dr. Patricia Cavazzoni, a former chief of the FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, CDR, which provides them with a strategic advantage in navigating the CNPV's expedited review process. Their pipeline includes a maternal RSV vaccine that aligns with public health goals, potentially allowing for fast-track approval. Weakness ** A significant portion, over 40%, of Pfizer's revenue is generated in the U.S., making it susceptible to price reductions driven by the MFN policy. Additionally, its blockbuster medications, such as Paxlovid, are now facing competition from generics, and its cholesterol treatments are experiencing diminishing pricing power in the U.S. Investment perspective *, consider buying if you believe Pfizer can successfully diversify its product offerings and tap into high-margin markets like rare diseases. However, be cautious of its heavy reliance on U.S. revenue, which poses a risk. Merck, MRK, the CNPV contender with strong results. Strengths ** Merck's recent approval of clesrovimab for RSV prevention, which boasts an impressive 84% efficacy in reducing hospitalizations, positions it well within the CNPV's focus on health crises. Furthermore, Merck's global manufacturing capabilities, including facilities in the U.S. and Europe, provide a buffer against the pressures of the MFN policy. Weakness *, despite its strengths, over 30% of Merck's revenue still comes from the U.S., and its dependence on older drugs like Keytruda, which faces competition from biosimilars, could put pressure on profit margins. Investment perspective ** a solid hold. Merck's commitment to research and development in infectious diseases and oncology aligns well with CNPV priorities, but keep an eye on its pricing strategies in the U.S. Bristol-Myers Squibb, BMY, the risk-taking innovator. Strengths ** BMY's acquisition of 2seventy Bio for $286 million enhances its research capabilities in innovative therapies, such as antibody-drug conjugates and RNA treatments, which align with the CNPV's focus on groundbreaking cures. Its emphasis on rare diseases, like Friedreich's ataxia, and oncology also targets high-priority areas. Weakness ** with approximately 45% of its revenue coming from the U.S., Bristol-Myers Squibb is vulnerable to price caps imposed by the MFN policy. Additionally, its older drugs, such as Revlimid, are facing competition from generics, which could squeeze profit margins. Investment perspective ** a speculative buy. While BMY's diverse pipeline shows promise, its significant reliance on U.S. revenue and legacy products introduces a level of risk. Conclusion: rethink valuations based on geographic exposure and pipeline diversity. Investors should consider two critical questions. 1. What percentage of revenue is derived from the U.S.? Companies with more than 40% U.S. exposure, like Pfizer and Bristol-Myers Squibb, are at a higher risk of margin compression. 2. Is the product pipeline aligned with CNPV priorities? Therapies targeting rare diseases, oncology, or infectious diseases, such as Merck's RSV drug, are more likely to secure fast-track approval, helping to maintain pricing power. Action steps. By Merck. Merck, with a strong pipeline aligned with CNPV priorities, global diversification, and proven efficacy data, Merck is a solid investment. Avoid Pfizer. PFE. The company is overly exposed to U.S. pricing risks without sufficient high-margin products in its pipeline. Hold Bristol-Myers Squibb. Bristol-Myers Squibb. While there is potential for growth from its R&D investments, it's wise to wait for clearer indicators of successful pipeline execution. The FDA's new strategy is set to reshape the pharmaceutical landscape for the foreseeable future. Those who adapt swiftly to the realities of global pricing and focus on therapies that resonate with regulatory priorities will emerge stronger from the impending margin pressures. For others, the risks may prove too great. 2. FDA speeds up drug approvals with new voucher program. What does it mean for patients? The FDA is taking a significant step by factoring in drug affordability when it issues new vouchers aimed at expediting the approval process for certain treatments, as stated by Commissioner Marty Makary during an interview with CNBC on Friday. In June, the FDA unveiled a national priority voucher initiative designed to reduce the time it takes to review drugs to just 1 to 2 months for companies that align with what the agency deems U.S. national interests. However, earlier communications regarding this voucher program did not specifically highlight drug affordability as a key consideration. We are prioritizing the affordability of medications as a national concern, Makary emphasized to CNBC. Reducing the cost of medications is a central aim of the Trump administration, which is currently navigating a complex situation as it threatens to impose tariffs of up to 200% on pharmaceuticals imported into the U.S. This move is part of a broader strategy to bring drug manufacturing back to American soil. During a press conference on April 22, 2025, at the Health and Human Services headquarters in Washington, D.C., Makary reiterated President Trump's strong commitment to lowering drug prices for Americans, expressing his frustration over the exorbitant costs that can be 2, 5, or even 10 times higher in the U.S. compared to other developed nations. However, there remains uncertainty about how the administration will assess affordability during the drug review process, as the pricing for a new product is typically established post-approval in the U.S. The FDA's official website currently lists 4 specific, national priorities that will guide the selection of companies eligible for vouchers under this new program. These priorities include addressing a health crisis in the U.S., providing more innovative cures for Americans, meeting unmet public health needs, and enhancing domestic drug manufacturing as a matter of national security. Interestingly, a report from the Wall Street Journal in June suggested that drug affordability may have been considered in earlier discussions. A representative from the Department of Health and Human Services confirmed that the FDA will indeed take drug affordability into account for this program, clarifying that the criteria are not restricted to the previously mentioned examples. When asked for specific instances of health crises that companies could address with their drugs, Makary expressed a desire to see advancements such as a cure for type 1 diabetes, more effective treatments for neurodegenerative diseases, and a universal flu vaccine to eliminate the guesswork involved in predicting which flu strain will emerge each season. He also highlighted the need for additional treatments for stage 4 cancer, which occurs when the disease has metastasized to distant areas of the body. We have established a committee that will determine which products and companies will receive these vouchers as part of a pilot program, Makary stated. We need to explore new approaches and ask ourselves why it takes so long for drugs to reach the market. Our goal is to facilitate the development of more cures and meaningful treatments for the American public. The FDA plans to distribute new vouchers this year, and following a one-year pilot phase, the agency may increase the number of expedited approvals granted to companies. Some analysts on Wall Street have previously suggested that this voucher program could prove to be a more effective strategy than tariffs in incentivizing drug manufacturers to relocate their production to the U.S. Yet, concerns linger regarding the implications of accelerating drug reviews to as little as 30 days, which would mark the fastest review period in the FDA's history. Another point of contention is whether the FDA might grant vouchers to companies that are politically aligned with the Trump administration, potentially including those that would typically face closer scrutiny from agency staff. 3. FDA Commissioner Makary's bold plan: fast review vouchers for lower U.S. drug prices. Imagine a scenario where getting a new medical breakthrough approved could come with a catch: drug companies might have to agree to lower their prices in the United States. That's precisely what FDA Commissioner Marty Makary is proposing, an idea that feels almost revolutionary in its approach. But here's where it gets controversial. Makary suggests using the incentive of faster reviews for experimental medicines to negotiate reduced costs for patients. This proposal introduces a novel twist on how pharmaceuticals are developed and priced in the U.S. Traditionally, drug companies invest heavily in research and development, expecting high returns once their products are approved. However, Makary's idea challenges this model by tying quicker regulatory approval to more affordable pricing. To illustrate, consider a biotech firm developing a promising new cancer treatment. Under Makary's proposal, if they agree to sell the drug at a lower price point in the U.S., they could receive expedited review from the FDA. This means the medication could reach patients faster, potentially saving lives sooner while also making it more accessible financially. And this is the part most people miss: such a system could bridge the gap between innovation and affordability, addressing the long-standing issue of high drug costs in America. However, it also raises questions about whether it's fair to incentivize lower prices through expedited reviews, or if it could compromise the rigorous standards set by the FDA. What do you think? Should faster approvals be tied to lower prices? Or does this risk undermining the safety and efficacy of new medications? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 4. FDA's new proposal: faster drug reviews for lower U.S. prices. In a dramatic policy shift that could reshape prescription drug access, the FDA is now proposing accelerated approvals for pharmaceutical companies that slash U.S. medication prices to match international rates. This groundbreaking strategy, revealed by FDA Commissioner Marty Makary during a Bloomberg television interview, marks a stunning reversal for an agency that historically avoided drug pricing controversies like political quicksand. But here's where it gets controversial: this initiative directly ties regulatory speed to corporate pricing decisions, a move some experts argue blurs traditional boundaries between drug safety oversight and market manipulation. The proposal serves as a tactical maneuver to advance President Trump's explicit healthcare objective, eliminating perceived international discounts where foreign nations secure better drug deals than American patients. As Makary bluntly stated, companies equalizing U.S. prices with global benchmarks could receive coveted fast-track reviews, essentially exchanging dollar signs for regulatory shortcuts. This connects directly to Trump's May 2020 executive order demanding that Americans pay no more than the lowest prices available internationally. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Should a regulatory body historically focused on safety and efficacy wade into pricing battles? This pivot sparks fierce debate about whether the FDA is overstepping its mission or courageously addressing an urgent public crisis. And here's what many miss: this isn't just about fairness, it's a high-stakes experiment in using regulatory leverage as an economic bargaining chip. Could this approach inadvertently prioritize speed over thoroughness in drug evaluations? We're inviting your perspective. Do you see this as a bold solution to price disparities or a dangerous precedent for regulatory independence? Share your take below. We're debating this daily in our policy teams and want your real-world insights.